I love when entertainment comes out here and we don't know anything about him. Joshua Michael Woods from North Carolina.
Yep.
Got lost in Opelika and straight up to Alexander City to sit on the front porch.
Pretty much, yeah.
Tell us, let's go back to your granddaddy.
Yeah.
Because that's how you know about the front porch. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about him right now.
Yep. Well, my granddad, he moved down here about 7 years ago. And
from North Carolina?
From, where was he last? Ackworth, Georgia.
Really?
So he was finishing up in his career, and they had bought this place. They looked all around the country trying to find the best lake.
Wow.
Lake Martin is what they landed on, and I'm glad they did.
What a compliment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a great area. I love, it's a nice place, plus I love the history of Hank Williams, which, But so they retired down here, bought the place about 7 years ago. They've been, fixing it up, and I've been coming down here for the past 6 years or so. Eventually, their neighbor, he offered me a job at his refrigeration company.
Oh, really?
Dan Hart, if you've heard of him. And so I've been working with him. And at the time, I didn't really need the job because I was young and living with my parents, but I decided to move out last year.
What are you now? 20. You ain't no old man. You ain't no old man.
Yeah. Well, I moved out last year when I was 19, and so I've been working refrigeration, playing music, and enjoying the sights.
What got you involved in refrigeration? Not music, but refrigeration.
Well, refrigeration, it was, I guess, just such a great offer from Dan. So,
is it easy to you? Is it something you're learning more and more about? Because it'd be a great trade.
Oh yeah. I would say it was. I've been doing it for about 6 months now, so I'm still fresh off the boat, still figuring it out. But it was. I've caught on, as easy as you can, I suppose, with such a trade.
Do you see a career there? Or is it still hard to say being 6 months in?
I would definitely say if I were not so in love with music, then this would be a phenomenal career. Especially at Dan Hart Refrigeration, because the guys are just so they're so generous with their time and their knowledge, and just a great group of guys.
I know you appreciate that.
Oh yeah, they're helping. They gave me an opportunity, and I can keep the lights on at my house, so that's a good thing.
What your love for music? Where did that come from?
I'm not entirely sure.
Really?
I've wondered that quite a bit. I've wondered, is it something that God gives you, or is it something that
I think it is.
I think so too. But also, my granddad Wayne Condiff, he's a musician too. He's been playing music his whole life, and he grew up in a musical family. And when I was 13 years old, he gave me an old beater guitar.
Really?
Just like, what are you gonna do with this? Let's see. And I started picking on it, and the first riff I learned was the intro to Folsom Prison Blues.
Really?
And
wow.
And it's real simple, but for whatever reason, when I realized that I can make a joyful noise on the guitar, I became addicted to it that instant.
Wow.
And so I've just been playing like crazy for the past 6 years or so.
Do you practice a lot?
I try to, and I mostly just, a lot of my practice comes through performing and songwriting.
Do you write by yourself? Do you write with somebody, or both?
I've not tried writing with somebody else. I've had some good offers. Probably the best is from a guy named D. White. He's a really great musician out of Montgomery. And but I've just been writing alone since the start, and it seems to work. So
when you say write alone, what do you write about?
That's a good question.
I think you're 20 years old. You're a young person. You still got life to learn, to live, and that's where so much of music or writing comes from, I would think.
Certainly, certainly. I would say a lot of the stuff I write about is just my personal experience,
That's
with
good. Well, people can relate to it.
Yeah. With I would say the main topic I sing about is love attained and love lost.
Yeah.
But
well, you live and learn there, don't you?
Oh yeah. But
you sound like you're experienced.
Yeah, I can. Well, I can fake it for short periods of time. Is what. But I read a lot. I've read a lot of autobiographies. I love watching interviews of people and learning about people. And so I think
anybody particular.
Oh yeah.
Or just people in general.
My favorites have been. So the most books I've read about a specific person is Johnny Cash.
Really?
I've read both of his autobiographies as well as a few other biographies about him. So I'm kind of a little trivia guy on him.
Walk the Line. Have you seen the movie?
Oh yeah, it's a pretty good movie. I like it.
Joaquin Phoenix just played the heck out of Johnny Cash. I mean, he he dresses up in black. He's in the office and he's wanting to go to the Folsom Prison Blues. And the man says, "You look like you're going to a funeral."
Oh yeah.
And his famous line, "Well, maybe I am."
Maybe I am.
Yeah, but I've heard people that knew Johnny Cash but from the movie, that knew him and said that he did movements that were scary, that looked and sounded just like Johnny Cash.
Wow.
He was in character.
Yeah.
He played the heck out of him.
That's cool. Yeah, that's such a good movie. I've seen that a couple times.
Why Johnny Cash? What
Let's see.
Brought you to Johnny Cash, the Man in Black?
I think it has to do with our outlooks on life.
Really?
So he was very much a man that had two very powerful sides to him, and he was as much light as he was dark.
Yeah.
And in
maybe
my own
even dark,
life,
maybe even heavier on the dark side.
A little more dark, yeah. And in my own life, I felt that same way. I really believe in that thing that I'm a sinner saved by grace. I look at myself and I oftentimes see a wretch.
Yeah.
But I think it's that darkness in me that makes me realize my need for Jesus so much. Yeah.
Wow, that's a strong. It's a strong statement. It's and especially coming from a young person.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes nerves to say.
I suppose
what you just said. And I commend you.
I appreciate that
for that.
Yeah.
But yes, when you see somebody like a Johnny Cash from an old Arkansas boy that made it big in the he was in the Air Force. That wasn't his thing, and he did have. The drugs and all that. Just absolutely, it was always a big bad issue for him. And I don't know if he really ever, And then here comes his wife. They had a great marriage together all those years, and it wasn't easy.
Oh no, it wasn't. Yeah, it was. He had an issue with drugs in the 60s, and he got clean, I think, around 68, 69. But he was in an accident involving an ostrich that attacked him in the late 70s or early 80s. He had kind of like a petting zoo at his little farm in Hendersonville, I think it was, Tennessee. And he had an ostrich that
I've never heard
didn't really
story.
like him a whole lot. And he got cut because they got some sharp talons or something. He got cut, I think, from his chest down to his abdomen or something.
Wow.
Maybe down to his belt.
Wow.
And so he went to the hospital. He got addicted to pain pills and stuff again.
I've never heard this story.
Yeah, it's incredible. I think I read it. I think I read it in his probably his second autobiography.
Yeah.
And the coolest part about that story is when he was getting clean, he went to Betty Ford.
A lot of them have.
And this was in 82 or 83 or something. And who else was at Betty Ford? That same Betty Ford? Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh my goodness!
So he befriended,
what a pair there is.
He befriended Ozzy Osbourne and Betty Ford when they were both getting clean. I was like, oh, that's so cool.
I've never seen a picture of those two together.
Me neither. I think that was the extent of their meeting. Just two brothers in the system or two brothers in the rehab.
Wouldn't you like to heard that conversation?
Oh yeah, that would have been cool.
I've never heard that. Out in Hendersonville, which is outside of Nashville, Tennessee, is where their house was, where the Cash cabin is. I was blessed to do an interview with the Tennessee Werewolves there. It's a father, son, and daughter.
Okay.
And you talking about a magical feeling, knowing that Johnny and other artists had recorded there, just to sit on that porch, to be in that house. It's a little small place.
Yeah.
And John Carter lives right next to it.
Really?
John Carter Cash.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
But it just what a great, dark, good story.
Yeah.
It really is a feel-good story about Johnny Cash, even though the tough times he went through.
Yeah, it's that story. That story has kept me going on a lot of dark nights, I suppose.
Really?
It's given me a lot of hope because for whatever reason, and I hate talking about it necessarily.
No, I'm glad you are.
It always feels like, I'm 20, so imposter syndrome, you know. But for whatever reason, growing up, I've always just had a kind of like a dark cloud hanging over me.
Really? Like how?
And I don't know. It's like I don't know, just a lot of
bad things have
sadness
happened?
and not necessarily bad things, but just a lot of sadness and
Have you lost
loneliness.
a parent or a good friend or anything?
My parents did have a rocky relationship.
Okay.
You know, they got divorced last year, or 2023, not last year. But you know, you could see the symptoms for years before that, and so kind of growing up around that
Wow.
probably had a large impact on
Sure.
me. But that's why I kind of relate a lot to the people like, you know, Johnny Cash, you know, the Elvis Presleys, the folks out there that have lived hard lives, and in spite of that, they've triumphed.
Yeah.
And that's what I hope to do.
Well, let me tell you what. Not knowing this guy, sitting down with him and just pulling everything of his heart out, we go pull some music out of him when we come back. We'll be right back. Tell you what, this it's more here. Mr. Wood, I'm gonna call him Mr. Wood now because he's got my respect for Johnny Cash. Walk the line. You know of a dead blame line in it. In reading those books about Johnny Cash, I guess you being young, but that tells me how much an artist like Johnny Cash, how he still touches people with his life. What he did is the music that he wrote and sang. I Walk the Line. I mean, you know, Ring of Fire. I mean, you know, I think, I guess his wife wrote Ring of Fire, I believe.
Yep, with Merle Kilgore.
Yeah. Wow. Country music. Have you been down to Clyde area where Hank's cabin is?
I've not been to the cabin yet. I didn't even know it existed until late last year, but I'm meaning to. But yeah, I did go to Hank's grave a few weeks ago in the middle of the night. So I was midnight in Montgomery.
And
I stayed there till about 1 a.m.
Wow.
And, just kind of talking to Hank and praying to God.
I'll be darned. The song you're fixing to do, is this an original? Is this, Okay. What's the name of it? Come here. Tell me what the name of it is and let me see what it's about.
Fair enough.
Let me hear what it's about.
Well, it's a song I wrote called Whiskey Hair.
Whiskey Hair.
And it's a story of two young lovers.
All right, good deal.
Let's see if I can do it right the first time. My eyes see the amber that preserves the memory of our drive last September in your daddy's old 53. The summer sun, it sank down low, a dark fall came soon. But I'll remember you. With your smile you'd light the night. The moon couldn't hold a candle. So we'd drive, forget the time, and wake up the front page scandal. The roads would hum a sweet melody, and you'd drift off to sleep. But now I plead for your whiskey hair blowing in the wind. Intoxicate me with your love again. Without you I tremble and scream like a fiend. But in your arms I feel like a king. Whiskey hair, come back to me. Tonight I'm driving that 53, traveling down old roads. Your daddy cried when he gave it to me, 'cause now I drive alone. The full moon shines and lights the way, but it can't take your place. And I miss those days, and your whiskey hair blowing in the wind. intoxicate me with your love again. Without you I tremble and scream like a fiend, but in your arms I feel like a king. Whiskey hair, come back to me. Those yellow lines are the tie that binds two broke kids in the summer, but they soon end when you see the pines, the end of the road for my lover. God, I loved her, and her whiskey hair blowing in the wind. Intoxicate me with your love again. Without you I tremble and scream like a fiend, but in your arms I feel like a king. Whiskey hair, come back to me. Whiskey hair, come back to me.
Wow, that's all I can say about that.
Yeah.
Wow, what a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
Wow, I mean, and I always like to. I'm thinking, you go, come out with a Johnny Cash, trying to say.
Hello, I'm Johnny Cash.
But you sing like yourself.
Yeah.
And to me, that's always the biggest compliment I can pass on. You're not trying to sound like anybody. You got a beautiful voice. Where did that come from? Besides the man upstairs, who encouraged you, or is it somebody in the family?
I'd say my family. They've definitely been as encouraging as they can possibly be. My granddad, of course, and my mom.
Way to go, Grand.
Yeah.
What do you call your granddad?
Wayne Conniff. I call him Papa Wayne.
Hey, Papa Wayne. You did good.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you for sending them our way.
Yeah, but also just, Elvis Presley, huge influence. Johnny Cash, huge influence, of course.
Have you been to Graceland?
Graceland?
Have you ever been to Graceland?
One time. Yeah, it was a pretty good time. It was a little bit overwhelming because it's this is what's possible.
Yeah, it is overwhelming. I was a big Elvis fan, still am.
Nice.
I think heroes like that, I don't think we're supposed to see them grow old. I don't think we want to see a 90-year-old Elvis, dying young. Willie will be 92 next month. I mean,
Man, he's still kicking too.
I mean, in an interview when he was in his 60s, he said, if I knew I'd going to live this long, I'd take better care of myself. Well, he's 92 years old and he's still out there doing what he loves. You're doing what you love, and that's what you have to pursue.
Yeah, I feel there's a lot of easier ways for me to make a living, and I'd like to be a business owner, and so I could do refrigeration, make a good living, have a good life like my boss. But as much as I love music, I also feel like it's my calling in life. Like some are called to be a preacher. I feel like I'm called to be a musician.
I agree with you. And if I didn't, I probably wouldn't even comment on it.
Fair enough.
I'd just be quiet. But I'm going to agree with you. And we're fortunate to have a lot of different artists come through here from all over. We had one this week from Finland.
I think I saw him.
And he loves country music.
Nice.
But I see a young person like you that has the voice. Mm-hmm. And the man upstairs gave you that God-given talent.
Yep.
And you got to run with it.
Yep.
So do you have a band, or is this just something you open for people?
I'm trying to get together a band. I've got a drummer, and that's about it so far. It's hard to find good players that want to commit to it too.
Mm-hmm. Are you booked? I mean, do you do a lot of shows? 1 hour shows, 2 hour shows at different places?
Not a whole lot yet. I'm still trying to kind of get my name out there and build those connections with people and working on increasing the length of my set list and all that. But I will be at the Opelika Songwriters Festival.
Good, that's a good one. That's a big one.
They're doing something new this year where they're doing a little songwriters round at, I think it's Whistle Stop Brewing Co. Mm-hmm. And it'll be 3 musicians at a time up on stage, and they'll just kind of go back and forth playing music.
I love watching that. Oh, we have the Lake Martin Songwriters Festival coming up at the end of July. Will you come back out here and visit us?
Certainly.
I'll give you some times. Yeah. Just pre-record.
Fair enough.
For you. Will you come back?
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to.
The one and only. Yeah. Mr. Wood.
Oh, yeah.
Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Hey, we'll be right back.